Perfect. So that is on um, now. So what we're going to do today, yes, is we're going to start standing. So today's session is all about balance and core strength. So we're thinking about how the core works together. So instead of our muscles being isolated, think of them as a push-pull system and they all are integrated together. The front and the back work together and the sides work together as well. So keeping that in mind as we flow through our vinyasa yoga today. So let's start by coming to the front of the mat. Starting in our mountain pose, we have our heels underneath our hips and our hands resting by our side. We're going to take a moment here to soften and close the eyes, focusing on the breath as we allow it to guide us through this beautiful flow today. We're going to start today by doing a nice sun salutation, nice and relaxing. So let's begin by lifting those arms up and overhead in a circle-like motion, joining them together in a prayer position above your head and bringing your hands in a fist position as you reach all the way up to the sky. Let's take in a deep breath as you bring your hands all the way down in a T position. You're going to swan dive all the way down to the ground, coming into our forward fold. We take a moment here to let our head, neck and shoulders relax, grabbing on to our elbows with our hands. As we come into our ragdoll, swaying side to side or doing some figure of eights. Let's bring those hands to come down to the ground. As our right hand stays down on the ground, we have a bend in our right knee and our left hand travels all the way up to the sky. We come into our soft standing twist here. We take in a deep breath, and then on our out breath, our hands come back to center. As we bend into the left knee, the right hand travels up towards the ceiling. We take in a deep breath. And your hands come back to center. We're going to have a deep bend in the knees as the left foot steps back. We come into our high plank. Let's leave the left hand on the ground as the right hand comes up and overhead. Start waking up the body. The right hand comes down and frames the right foot. The right foot steps back as we find ourselves in our plank pose. Let's drop those knees down to the ground as you find yourself in a tabletop position. We're going to bend into the elbows and lower the chest down to the ground, followed by the hips. Slowly pushing up to come into our cobra pose. Stretching the shoulders here. A soft bend in the elbows. Let's gently bend the elbows and bring them back down as your chest comes down to rest on the floor. Our hands frame our chest. We tuck our toes and we come back into our tabletop position. Push our hips all the way up to the sky and find ourselves in our downward facing dog.
We'll take a moment here to walk out our dog, pedaling our legs one at a time. And then together, bending and flexing your knees. A couple of times here. Let's push the tailbone all the way up to the sky and then lower the heels down to the ground. Imagining pushing the shoulder blades to the back of the room. We're going to look forwards and gently step to the front of the mat to find yourself once more in our forward fold. As we repeat that on the opposite side. So let's bring those hands to touch the elbows. The head relaxes down. Perhaps swaying side to side in this ragdoll. Nodding or shaking your head to release some of the tension and pressure. Release those arms down to the ground. As our right hand stays on the ground now, we have a bend in our right knee. Our left hand comes up towards the sky. We take in a deep breath. We bring that left hand back down as we exhale, gently swapping sides. So we bend into the left knee as the right arm comes up towards the sky. And let's come back down as we bring both of our arms down to land on the mat. We have a deep bend in our knees as our right leg steps back now as we step into our high lunge. Our right hand stays on the ground as our left hand travels up towards the ceiling. High lunge twist here. Let's bring that left hand down so the hands are framing the feet as we step both your feet back. You can bend at the knees here, or you can come straight down to chaturanga, bending at the elbows and lower down to the mat, pushing up into our gentle cobra pose here. Separating the shoulders, separating the ears from the shoulders, creating space between them. Let's gently lower all the way down to the ground. As we push back, our hands frame our chest as we push back into our tabletop position. We're going to have our knees slightly wider than the mat and push back into our child's pose. Resting the forehead on the ground. Taking in 2 deep breaths here. We're going to move on to our sun salutations, but adding some balance onto them. So working through our star pose and our warrior 3 and our half moon. See how we go. Let's look forward and ripple the body into our tabletop position. We're going to bring some awareness into the spine as we move through our cats and cows, but with a little bit of a twist. So arching the back all the way up to the sky, pushing back into our child's pose, looking forwards and rippling the body all the way forwards into a cobra. Stretching all the way up through the chest. Let's do that one more time, lowering the chest down to the ground. Let's push back into a tabletop position. We're going to arch the back all the way up to the sky. Then push back into our child's pose. We're going to look forwards and bring that chest through as we find ourselves in our cobra pose. Let's bend the elbows and lower down to the ground. We're going to tuck the toes and push up into our cobra pose, and then into our downward facing dog. We're going to bend at the knees, pedaling out the legs. One at a time, and then both of them. Stretching out the hamstrings as we imagine our shoulders being pushed back and creating that lovely V shape. We're going to look in between the hands, hop, step, or jump to the front of the mat for our forward fold. One vertebrae at a time, gently unraveling yourself to standing. Your arms come up and overhead in a circle-like motion, and when they come together, let's create some space between them. We're going to stretch all the way up to the ceiling, gentle bend back here, and then resting our hands by our side into our mountain pose. We're going to move on to some balancing poses now. So starting with the left leg, we're going to bring the left knee into the chest. Give it a little hug. We're then going to send the left leg all the way long. Our hands come up and we reach forward. We find ourselves in our warrior 3. Holding here for a moment. And then resting down, resting that back foot down for warrior 1. We're going to open up into warrior 2. Our hips over to the left side. We straighten both of our legs and turn the front leg inwards. So we're in a nice star shape. We're going to heel toe our feet in just slightly before we lean over to the right side, lifting the left foot off the ground, coming into our star pose. Now you can stay in star pose, or if you would like a challenge, you can lean all the way forwards and find yourself in our half moon. Stay here for a moment, bending into the front leg slightly as you softly land the left leg down, finding yourself back in warrior 2. We're going to cartwheel those hands all the way forwards to frame the front foot. The right foot steps back. You find yourself in a plank position. Let's push the tailbones all the way up to the sky, finding yourself in our downward dog. We're going to look forwards, hop, step, or jump to the front of the mat, finding yourself in our forward fold. Gently unraveling yourself to standing, one vertebrae at a time, as we bring those arms up and overhead with some space between our hands,
stretching upwards and outwards, and then resting our hands by our side. We're going to bring the right knee into the chest now, giving the right knee a little hug. Before sending the right foot all the way back, our hands come forwards and we shift our hips forwards as we find ourselves in a warrior 3. Nice. Holding just for a second. And let's bend into the left knee, stepping back into our warrior 1. We're going to open up to the side of the room, to the right side of the room for warrior 2. We straighten the front leg, having both of our feet parallel to each other. Facing to the right side, we heel toe our feet in slightly, and we lean over to the left side now, lifting that right foot off the ground. Now you can stay in star pose or lean all the way forwards, trying to touch the corner of the left mat for our half moon pose. Bending into the left knee, coming back into our warrior 2. Let's cartwheel the hands all the way forwards to frame the left foot. Stepping the left foot back, finding yourself in our plank position. This time we're going to bend the knees, find yourself in a tabletop. We're going to raise the right leg nice and straight out behind us. Your foot in line with your hip. We're going to raise the right hand to the side and open the body out to the right side. Now, you can stay here, or you can bend your elbow and knee to touch each other, and then elongate the body. And then coming back to our tabletop position. As we repeat on the left side, left leg goes nice and straight, long behind us. We find our balance first before opening our left hand out to the left side, side plank here. Now you can stay here, or you can bend the elbow to the knee, and then straight out again. Nice. Let's come back into our tabletop position. We're going to finish this session with a little bit of ab work. So we're going to raise the right hand and the left leg nice and straight. You can stay here or come into our plane, which is moving the limbs to the opposite arms of the room. And then coming back to center. Let's see if we can reach up and over, coming into our bird dog, holding on to our ankle. Reaching all the way up to the sky. And then returning back into our tabletop as we repeat on the opposite side. So the left arm, right leg come out nice and straight. And then we extend the limbs to the opposite sides of the room. Coming back to center. And then reaching up and over, grasping our ankle, coming into our bird dog. Let's gently unravel ourselves and come back into our tabletop position. Let's inch ourselves so that our hands are at the top of our mat. We're going to cross at the ankles and sit back on our tailbones. Bringing our legs all the way forwards and giving them a little shake. We're going to bend at the knees and bring the hips towards the ankles so that our knees are towards the sky, and we lower our head, neck and shoulders down to the ground. We can bring our knees into our chest, give them a little hug, or perhaps a little circle one way and a little circle the other way. Let's bring your hands to rest by your side and your ankles to rest on the floor. As our knees come all the way down to the right side for our window wipers. Then all the way over to the left side. Before coming back to center. Let's bring those knees into our chest one more time as our heels touch each other. Extend the legs all the way nice and long, nice and straight. And then slowly lower those heels and those legs still straight down to the ground. As we come into our final pose of the night, Shavasana. We allow this time for ourselves. We soften and close the eyes and focus on our breath. Gently breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Let's do that a couple more times in your own time. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth as you focus on your jaw softening. And with your last deep breath for the night, bringing awareness to your fingers and toes as you gently wiggle them. And slowly rolling yourself to one side. Before sitting yourself up in a comfortable seated position. And for one last time tonight, let's bring those arms up and overhead in a circle-like motion, then joining them together in a prayer position, resting in your heart space for today's mantra. I move with ease, and I meet myself with kindness. You bring your hands to your lips, and you thank them for always knowing what to say. You bring your hands to your heart, and you thank him for always guiding the way. Thank you, Spirit, for practicing with me today. All together we say, Namaste.